See how you doing. See how you feeling. We gonna see what we working with today. It could be Wednesday morning, could be Wednesday afternoon, it could be early Thursday. See how you are today. I am alive. Uh, was out yesterday, but I am back today. So I'm just gonna a simple question. This one's just a yes or a no. Hope that you're having a good day. Now we just gonna get cut to the chase. I don't think I gotta ask any more questions about it. It's pretty self-explanatory. We knew it was gonna come up with just a matter of time. We knew it was just a matter. I've been talked about this case quite a bit. So some people I've told, I think that it's like a split. I think there's a couple things, but more anything, I think it was more state. If it was about uh physical contact, he'd be in trouble. But this is not what this is about. It's hard to prove these kind of cases because you got to say beyond a doubt. There's some things that are there, but then there's a lot that's not there. So I'm looking at it like 60-40. And in fact, they were offering him a deal. But I do believe that he got a chance though. But if they turn his lights out completely, then I think the fix is on. I mean, I already think that, the system is racist and rigged. But if the only reason why I say this, and I'm not dignifying him. So before anybody come and say that, it's just that I don't think they proved Rico. And if they said a 15 or less and out in five, I think that would have a 5 to 10. I think that have more legit. But you say 15 and on, you say life. I don't get that for this case. I don't see it. I see a lot of inconsistencies. Be honest with you, a mistrial, hung jury. I can't see him being guilty on everything. Not on everything. So, but we'll see how it turn out. You know, is Diddy gonna walk or is he gonna get locked up? And that's just pretty much self-explanatory. All depends on how well you come down on it. Again, this ain't got nothing to do with no fans. I'm one of them kind of people. If they got stuff on people, then please do it when the time is there. Don't wait 15, 20, 30 years later and expect me to think that you are guilty. It's kind of like how I looked at the R. Kelly case. If y'all had a gone after him back when, I'd have said, okay. But y'all waited till he get older. This is thing too. They wait till cats get old, then they want to like act like we got them now. And I've said that's the closest thing that a black man gets to freedom if you got some money or something like that, because they let it be known that that's what's up. They really do. And it's really strange behavior. It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. You know. But a lot of people are tied to his parties. And again, people are conveniently about what they want to do with the past. Well, if you let Hugh Hefner walk and talk, you gotta give Diddy. I'm gonna tell you something right now. Locking up, as bad as that is, ain't the worst thing that could happen to him. Him being ostracized would be the worst. Imagine he goes around and people just do him like Flavor Flav did at that party and they just go ghost on him. So that would do understand that's the worst thing that could happen. Tell him he ain't got no friends, the people that gone ghost on him, he'll go crazy, you know. Because I'm one of those kind of people that I look at it like this. There's a lot of people involved in this thing. This is a lot deeper than what they're leaning on. And people be lying all the time. They know good and well, they know what's up. So we gonna see though. I'm be curious as to what kind of reaction is done. So we'll talk about it. We'll definitely get the feed on it. So we're just waiting. Live again. I had to send out the live stream, so we're gonna see if people come through. I will be on for a little while. I'll see if anybody come through today, though. I mean, I know it's probably be on for like an hour and a half. We're gonna wait to see what's up. If you follow me, you know I got a lot of videos out, so you'll see I got a lot of videos out that I've done. So give me your thoughts and your takes. There's a lot of stuff that I've covered. A lot. Told me what? Told you what? Told me what? Told me what? Told me what? Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Oh, that's because I'm on two different screens, but it'll be coming back though. Can you hear me now? And I am guilty. I'm trying to send out notices to different places. I have different spots besides this one, so I'm sending out notices because once I get this Russia folks come in, you told me what about what? What are you talking about? Told? I don't understand. Yeah, it's on me because I had to send out notices. When I come on live, I don't get no YouTube don't always just automatically just spit them out. So I have to go to the different forms that I have, and sometimes I get traffic that way. So one of these days when I blow up on here, that won't be a problem. I'll come on live and it'll be just coming left and right. That day ain't come yet, but we got to keep putting thoughts and prayers on it because I want to talk and then we can have it be all natural. But I'm glad you came through. But what did you tell me though? You told me about what? I'm trying to figure out what you told me about. Is it sports related? Because I want to know. I think people tell me they tell me something, and you gotta let me know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. You gotta tell me what's up. What are you talking about? Told me what? I don't get it. Why don't you tell me what that means when you said told you? You talking about Diddy? I'm not a mind reader. I need to know what that means. So you just leave me hanging. I don't know what that means. Oh, that. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Oh yeah, okay. Um, I still feel that he was self defense. If Kyle Rittenhouse can be considered self defense, if the dude on the subway in New York can be considered self defense, if George Zimmer can be, why not? Especially with kids, we know about bullies. And why would a straight A student who did get a bond and home detention jeopardize that unless someone did something? You gloat if you can gloat if it turns out that he was doing it in cold blooded fashion. I'm not buying he did it cold blooded. Okay. I read it and I still stand by what I said. I think there's way more to it. Well, he's in Texas for one thing. His black behind is in Texas, and I'm just gonna keep it 100. They don't play in Texas. They lock you up for fun. So that's the reality. Well, I can't say it. I used to live there. I know how backwards they are and hateful they are, so it wouldn't surprise me. Now, if he finds a way to, what do I want to use? I want to word this the right way. If they can find out that it was self defense, that cuts that thing down like an afro, 75%. I just don't think the kid would just do that though. She had political pressure. Why was it a mistake to drop the bomb? She lowered the price so he could get out and graduate with his class. Again, innocent to proven, and he had a good reputation. Like I said before, he's being considered guilty before he's had a chance to even, I believe there's way more to it. I believe there's way more to it, but we'll never know. You know, if something had happened to him, I doubt the white cat would have gotten any time. And I just got to say it like that because there's just not the same energy. Systems are still set up against you, so that's how I feel about it. And they did make a point of making it where it was. So we'll see though. No, because things could have been intimidating. Have you ever lived in Texas? And have you ever been a black guy walking in places where people could start in on you? See, there are places and things where people bully you openly and subtly. So I think he dealt with something that's a lot more deeper. That just doesn't happen out the blue. And for the record, I'm not gonna take up for him because he's black, but I'm also gonna say this though: black folks don't get the benefit of the doubt either in the system. So I think we've seen that play out. Anybody who wants to refute that, ask yourself how come Diddy was locked up and Trump's walking around. That's all I got to say about that. It does play out black and white. Everything that goes on in America, it plays that way out. So there's always a racial component. Having said that, though, you are accountable for your actions, and you do have things that if you do things that are, dumbery, buffoonery, yeah, you got to be accountable. But I'm not going to sit here and I'm watching everything. So that's how I look at it. But anyway, everybody's entitled to their opinion about it. 67% say no Diddy, no daddy. It's getting good. We're going to see what we got today. So far, it's pretty low key today. Of course, I did. Do you watch my videos? Do you not watch my videos? Because if you watch my videos, you know I have done two videos about this. I did the first video when he started it off, and I got another video that came out today. So if you watch my videos, you should get your answers. He got bought and paid. He got no choice. Putin is his daddy. Elon Musk paid for the services. It's all distractions. And of course, he was gonna go because that's what he's been doing. He's been a distraction since he's been in. He up there talking about Iran, Iraq, Iran, and Israel. Talking about, well, y'all need to stop doing this now. Like, look, you already opened up the floodgates. What you expect to happen? You know, of course, that's the only way he was gonna come back. Anybody who didn't see it coming ain't been paying attention. That's his whole agenda. So you reap what you sow. People wanted that turkey. Now they got that turkey. And I hope that they happen because it's going to be a whole lot of, just a whole lot, a lot of. It ain't going to be good. You know, it's not even about so much even following him. It's just that it's just inevitable that he's going to do what he do because that's the stuff he do. He can't help himself. So, well, I have to cover a lot of topics. No, not now. I used to have a dog. Sometimes I cover a lot of topics and I get going into different details. So there's a lot of things that when that comes about, that's what happened. You know, believe it or not, I don't do videos all the time. I have a life. I don't get shopping done. I exercise every day. I'm out and about doing stuff. It's just that when I go into my creative, when I get into my cave and I get into that studio mindset, then they just start to just, just how my brain works. But I have a life though. Shoot, I go out. I do some live stuff when I'm out, poetry. I just into different forms of creativity. So that's all. And actually, I spend a good time at night watching some TV late at night when I do stuff. It's no boast to brag. It comes pretty easy because I watch a lot and I observe a lot. and there are different topics that just kind of. It's just that nowadays, with the way politics and sports and music and movies and all that kind of run as one, things done changed. I don't know quite what that means. I don't know what that means, but I don't know what one would have to do with the other because if he's being examined, she probably want to see what kind of energy he got, and his energy is crazy. I don't know what that would mean though. I don't do 30-minute videos per se because then they tend to be long winded. Um, and I understand about attention span. It's like doing music. So you turn the radio on, I got to get you in 2 or 3 minutes. It's like that's what made classics. The only time I do long videos if I'm going over a particular topic. The problem with long videos, you gotta like cover so much, and then that'll stick where you getting all your final points. And I look at it like a cohesive body of work, which become like an album. But like if I do 3 or 4 videos, they're like a side. So, but I don't, because to do 30-minute videos, I'd have to really, really want to just be engrossed in something. And most of the time, to be honest, unless of course you just can keep on dropping something that's distinctive, you really are going to lose about 12 to 15 minutes of it because a lot of stuff is just going to be fodder where you keep going over, regurgitating. And usually I find that you can hit a good video in about 5, 6, 7 minutes. You make people want, I think, in a TikTok era, in a instant era, I think people come back to something quicker. I just do. Yeah, I don't go for the long play too much. Only time I like long videos if it's going to be an interview and it's going to be something that's compelling. Because a lot of times things start to drag after about 12, 13 minutes. Because you can't, you just can't really just knock them out left and right. And when people have long videos, they like splice where they want to make money points. So it could be the 5th minute mark, and it could be the 13th minute mark, and it could be the 19th minute mark, and then you don't get until the 29th mark. So I like to kind of, I have some videos that go past my usual 4 or 6 minute mark, but it's not something that, you know, I understand about attention span. That's not to say people aren't intelligent. It's got to do with your intelligence. It's just that if you can hit your mark, oh yeah, we're in the TikTok world. People don't sit around and, you know, you drag it all out. You know how people are like, well, we're going to get our knife, we're going to get our fork and our spoon and our salad fork and our napkin and our plate and our glass and our table and our cloth and we're going to, they don't do that no more. They say get the utensils and let's sit and, that's it. And, now if I get requests to do long ones, I can do them. That's not a problem. It's just that I you know, yeah, well, see, mine double up as both. So my long ones are 4 to 5 minutes and my shorts are 3 minutes. So I'm in between. I cover the best of both worlds. If you watch my videos, you'll see I cover both worlds. I make my phone video long enough to be short videos, but they're still in between. And they may be a minute to 2 minutes or maybe three long, depends on what the topic is. No, I have people that ask me questions. I have people that have followed me and give me different topics. That's how I come up. I don't just surf. I'm not. I don't spend. I told you I don't spend that kind of time like that. When I do watch, I watch other people's content creators or the stories they got. but I don't surf unless, of course, it's a topic that again someone had asked me to about, and then I do some research. I don't do that because the topics I come up with, obviously, a lot of them, aside from the general ones, are not the standard ones. And what I mean by that is that I look up certain people and things that just aren't necessarily going to be, you know, talked about. So I look for, I know my subjects are more geared to what I like or what I talk about. I mean, if I suppose if I surf the web, I could probably have, those things, but I don't do that. Not just in general. Well, there's nothing typical about none of those things. If I talk about entertainment, we're in a day and a time period, depends on how old you are and where you come from. You're dealing with streams and you're dealing with file share and all that. So that's not typical for where I grew up. So that's different. We're talking about politics. Well, two-party system is infiltrated and it's all that. And really it comes down to if people are going to decide what they want to do with that. So that's kind of net. My sports takes aren't typical because, for one, I don't spend a lot of time talking about LeBron James. I don't really talk about the Dallas Cowboys. I am a Yankees fan, but I don't talk about that all the time. I talk about different athletes, different players, eras. I talk about ownership. Yeah, well, because most people like stuff that's pretty simple, and I say that not to downplay nobody, but they like stuff that's pretty simple that you can easily digest because that's one thing that connects folks. You don't have, because if you have to sit someone talk about IRAs, that might put them to sleep. You know, someone talking about passports or what they need for is this and that, which I could do, but again, it's different topics that you know. I do videos about health. I talk about exercising, what I eat, the stuff like that. That ain't gonna fly. I could talk about the different types of water I like. That ain't gonna fly. Except for people that really like what I'm about and appreciate that. Just saying. Books I read. Talk about a lot of different things. My topics have dealt with emotional perspective, you know. But again, those are things I talk about. But they're slid in. But people do like stuff that's pretty safe and non-threatening, though. Contrary to what you get, that's pretty obvious. Because it's a society more than ever where they throw that in your face. So, oh yeah, oh yeah, bad mediocrity. I think a lot of it is because of the writing. Entertainment's problem is that they just stuck on formula and they don't really challenge their audience. And they still got the same agenda. And they love that AI then came along because then they can really water down stuff. That's the problem. Sports' problem is that they haven't stood for anything. They still are plantation. Both fields are plantations. That's what they got in common. They use black athletes, black entertainment to sell what they got, and they haven't addressed a balance. And what you root for isn't helping out the grander scheme of things. It's just superficial. So I don't see that much progression going on. So they have gone backwards, but people like it because they feel like they can be a part of it, even though they don't respect it. See, it's now everybody's got a chance. but they don't respect it. But this is the juvenile mindset that's being taught that these places and these institutions have forged. That's what we are. So yeah, it's called is taking a beating. I seen some things that they would not have flown when I was coming along back in the day. People now just because that's what is being pushed. No, because it's just another way to infiltrate. But it's part of what's going on. But again, with anything, it's one of those sort of things that they want you to kind of be hyped about. Well, I'll tell you something. If you see a woman, then that's where you really gonna have a problem. See, hmm I'm gonna cut to the chase of what they be trying to make mess with your head. I don't think it's good. I think that it's setting up people to be like Captain Marvel. They want everybody to kind of be like, it's a wiring. So it's a very dangerous game because with technology, if you notice, on one hand, it's been some incredible creations, but on the other hand, anything man gets a hand of, then it gets simplified, and then it becomes used as a tool. None of them. In fact, if Eli Manning can halfway throw the ball at least 25 yards, bring his butt back, they got no starting quarterback. I'm not impressed with none of them. Those turkeys look like they're in for a long season. And thank you for coming through, Arnell. They look in for a long, drawn out season. So I don't think none of them. I think the Giants are just on tank alert. They don't deserve to win no way. I don't like none of their quarterbacks. To start, they suck. I ain't stutter. And Daniel Jones sucked, but at least he was. I guess he's about 3 games better than what they got. But they're horrible. And he gonna get fired. They suck. But when you got Russell Wilson and Jameson Winston, that sounds like some stooges right now. She's going on about Dart. I don't know who Dart is. It can be quite warm. They sure did. Yeah, you got to stay cool, drink a lot of water, and be cool. Yeah, and that was the stupidest thing that the Giants could have ever done. That was just dumb. That was just dumb, especially in the divisional rivalry. See, I got some theories and some takes about that. If you got to let somebody great go, it's okay they go to the playoffs. Second round, third round, but when they get to the show and they do what he did, You don't live that down no time soon. No, he did not. Stop the cap. No, he didn't. Stop. I'm not gonna let that fly. Now that's something we can disagree about Carmelo Anthony. We ain't gonna let that fly for obvious reasons. Cause I don't know how old you are and how much football you watch. That's not even close to accurate. If he, even if he'd have broken Dickerson's record, that wouldn't have been impressive because he plays. They play like 20 games now. It's not the same. That's not even close. I respect him as a running back, but it's not even close to the best I've seen. The Giants are just dumb. This ain't like when Donald McNabb got cut and Washington picked him up. It's not the same situation. O.J. Simpson, yo. 2,000 yards, 14 game season. You can't even compare. Barry Sanders, 2,000 yards. With 16 games, he did it in 14. Those two top it. Didn't have to because we don't. Let me get something to you. This ain't the NBA. Football ain't run anybody aside from quarterbacks. They don't use rings as an argument. And if you do throw Jerry Rice at me, it's because he didn't. He doesn't have to win a ring. This is football is not the same. Quarterbacks get held to that ring. You talking about Barkley's playoff numbers? Running backs never get held to about no winning no championship. That's not the same. That's not why they hold running backs to a standard. But for the record, OJ and Barry Sanders are considered in the top five or so greatest backs ever. So it's not an argument. Again, it's not the same as quarterback. And quarterback, that's a different animal. Terrell Davis is not considered a top 10 running back ever. I like TD a lot. He's not. And I like TD a lot, but he ain't considered better than OJ. He ain't considered better than Jim Brown. He ain't considered Walter Payton. It makes no difference. Moss is considered probably the second greatest receiver ever behind Jerry Rice. I'm going to try to say this again real slowly. If he don't get it soon, you're right. Because I don't know how much time you get. And you don't stay 25 forever. When you keep finding ways to lose, you're going to fool around and get hurt. Mahomes been to five Super Bowls and got three rings, so I don't know how much you gonna get spread. And he probably will win another one or two before he's done. Top to bottom, it's OJ and Barry Sanders. Top to bottom. Top to bottom, Eric Dickerson got a case. Top to bottom. And he did it in the 16 game season. Dickerson did it. Barry did 16. That's more impressive. Barkley's playing 18. They playing 18 games now. You can't compare 17, 18 games. It's a big difference. Difference. Way difference. The defenses are a lot more. You got more access now too. Big difference. It's not the same. Not the same. Not for running backs. Quarterbacks get the love. Do you not watch foot? If you watch football, we're not even having this discussion. No one walks around like Emmitt Smith got more yards and everything. How many people say Emmitt Smith is the GOAT? Now he might crack some people's top five. He's not randomly seen as that juggernaut. He's not. Jerry Rice, because he broke so many freaking records and was so far ahead, he gets that love of receiver. And there's some who think Moss was better. Emmitt Smith ain't considered the GOAT. And I used to have debates. People used to debate him and Barry Sanders all the time in the 90s because they said if Barry Sanders had his line, he would have surpassed him. So that is not the same. Quarterbacks are the ones who get that. Mahomes, Montana, Brady, those arguments. The Peyton Manning's, John Elway, Aaron Rodgers arguments. Those arguments. Roger Staubach. I can name cats. That's the debate. That's what quarterbacks get all that attention. No one talks about, other positions. Joe Jerry Rice because he broke all the records. And he was so distinctive. Like Only Skip Bayless is the only one I ever heard who said Mike Irvin was the greatest receiver. What team did he go that won the Super Bowl the year before? Are you talking about the 40? No, how did it hurt him? Because he came in and created his own lane with the rack. No one talks about Bradshaw like that. He wasn't even the best quarterback on the team. Joe Gilliam was. Bradshaw threw a lot of haymakers. He came up big in the postseason, but he didn't have the best touchdown interception ratio. He was not seen as that dude. And he had like 30 all pros on his players on his team. He wasn't seen as this dude that was a juggernaut. He wasn't that dude, not like that. Sorry. Most time when I look up top five quarterbacks, he never gets top five mentioned. In fact, I know some people who would take Big Ben Roethlisberger over him. So he was not seen as that kind of quarterback. Rings don't quite shine like that in football. It's different hits. But Mahomes, Brady, and Montana are the three best I've seen on the level. But Bradshaw doesn't get that kind of love though. He threw a lot of haymakers up to Lynn Swan, and Lynn Swan it took them like 30 years to put him in the hall. So again, and then it's also because of the fact that the stats weren't the same back then. But he only made acrobatic. Again, they were Franco Harris. You had a defense, a Steel Curtain. You had top tier talent. So it wasn't like he was asked to be the man. So oh yeah, he's top 10. Case in point, Marino is considered top 10. He's considered anywhere from 6 to 10. And he didn't win a ring. And he went to one Super Bowl. But you could put Marino almost against so many cats, and he's going. Because there are people who take him over Ben Roethlisberger. I can name a lot of quarterbacks that won Super Bowls that Marino's going to get love over. So it doesn't mean the same in football like it does in basketball. And that's only a recent thing because of basketball. Because people try to use people for as an agenda. Positional in football gets certain love if people are trying to move a point. He's not considered one of the great, not in the top 10. He might be in that 11 to 25 pile. But considering the talent he had around him, he should have been higher. So, I already talked about Fouts. I like Fouts a lot as a kid, but they underachieved though. They had Wes Chandler, Charlie Joyner, and John Jefferson, and Chuck Muncie. Breezy is one of those guys with the stat pad era. He should have been better, and I think that he kind of underachieved. Should have been better. He had a soft butt division to dominate because it is a stat based era. It's stat based. Of course, you could have mentioned Kurt Warner's year, but you didn't. Especially when they had the greatest show on turf that first year, that 1 year. But anyway, no, it's stat based though. I don't like years like those because usually guys play like that. They start September, they're hot in a firecracker, and then they get to December, then they fold and mold. And some of those cats had some great. They were fun to watch because I remember all of them. Yeah, it was. I like Lamar. He just got to win. That's it. Don't fool around and be the James Harden of quarterbacks, because that's where you heading. Because that's the only thing is missing off his mantle is a chip and an MVP in the Super Bowl. He done done everything else. But I don't, again, there's a lot of great years, but again, it's not the same in football as it is. People just don't do that. Don't know. Did he vote then sway to saying 60 saying yes? You got a chance. You got a chance. Let's see what we're working with. I want to have a conversation. Feel free to come on through. Let me know what's up. Okay, where everybody go? So we got. What's up? What's up? Thank you for coming through. Glad to have somebody come through because it got real dry up in here. I've been waiting for someone to come through and give me some convo on a regular basis. So come on, Jay Will. You got something to say? Let's make it count. If I think you're gonna talk right, we're gonna be here for more another hour. But I need somebody to light it up. So what's on your mind? I hate to say it because some of the conversation was kind of limp. I mean, there were certain things got into this little discussion up above. I don't know if you can read it or not. Was talking about running backs and talking about the after winter rain and the great season that Saquon Barkley. It is closed on him. It is. Excuse me. Because if I can use a golf analogy, Patrick Mahomes is like Tiger Woods. Who's going to be his Phil Nicholson? Who's going to be the VJ Singh? I see a lot of Sergio Garcias. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. So, and you remember, if you remember when Tiger Woods was winning, Phil kept missing the cut. He finally won, and he's got five, but Tiger's got 15. And Tiger's dominance left him in the dust. And Sergio finally won him one, what, 2 years ago? So think about it. And VJ Single, I think he won by a couple. But Tiger, all three of those cats combined, got about seven, eight more than those cats. And that's not to say that they're not important, but if you don't match up, look at Joe Burrow. I did a video about that. I addressed that. Please watch my videos. I talked about it. It's already out there. And he's out his everlasting mind. There's two things I'm going to say about that. If you didn't watch the video, I'm going to say this. A, it shows how dominant Shaq was because a lot of us felt, you know, that they had played with Shaq. Oh, yeah, because Shaq was an incredible dominant force, the last of his kind. And that's why he's top five with me. And I will debate Shaq with anybody because Shaq was that dominant. He made it look so. If you could control the inside, then the outside was breezy. But having said that, though, Kobe was the right teammate. The T Mac was never mentally put together like that. I still remember in '03 when they were up 3-1 against Detroit. He said, I'll see you in the second round. And then Detroit came back and won the next three games. And the next time I saw him pass the second round was when he was wearing warm up gear for the San Antonio Spurs in 2013 because it's the only time he got out the first round. He has no room to talk. Talented cat, but he was always in somebody's shadow and he was always one step off. Him and Yao Ming were supposed to be the new Shaq and Kobe. How did that turn out? Vince Carter was probably more talented of those three, but Vince never had the mental capacity. He had a chance. He was the closest thing to giving Shaq a problem in 2000, and he just kind of he was a great talent, but never had that next in him. AI, all the heart, tough, all that, didn't play team ball, and never attracted anybody that would have tolerated his mess. Because Larry Brown was one of the few as a coach, but as far as getting the players, so they can claim all they want. Well, they do rewrite certain things. I mean, I do think it's unfair that he gets belittled to LeBron as time goes on, but to sit there and act like Shaq wasn't Shaq is insane. There's a reason why one guy won three straight Finals MVPs, and it wasn't up for discussion. There's a reason why Phil Jackson said that man's going to be the captain, and that's not up for discussion. It's another reason why Phil Jackson left the Lakers in '04 and said, I can't coach this kid. That room is not up for discussion. He would have gotten out the first round, though. He was a smarter player, though. But I will say this he needed a low post presence for his style. He couldn't win with a perimeter. But he was great enough to impose his will on. Vince was impressive. I told you early. But Vince didn't. But Vince faded. The one that went to New Jersey was not the same in Toronto. He had a 3-point shot. It just wasn't the same. He came off kind of tender. Talent is all freak out. Arguably more. Yep, arguably more a natural talent than Kobe. But he just didn't have that next tangible. It just didn't click. AI was like basically like a pimp. He was just pimping, and they ain't bring nobody there. And nobody was, and LA Brown Larry Brown took the same formula that he had in Philly and took it to Detroit with Chauncey Billups and them and won the ring. Same. T Mac, they put him with people. It just didn't happen. And the East was considered was weaker too, by the way. Yeah, I remember all of that. I remember that. I remember when Phoenix and Kobe had one game when he pouted. He pouted in one of those games. That's why I can't have him in no top GOAT list. He has some tendencies to have attitude. He hurt his own cause. Unlike LeBron, if he got upset, he wouldn't score 10 points. He had a couple of games where he pouted. I can't acknowledge that. And I said that already up above about T Mac. I remember that game very well. It costs money, and they're not, and it's too complacent on being a one-trick pony. They got to get back to fundamental raw basketball. They've lost their identity. That's what that's about. Saves money, but it's also, and also, let's keep it 100. They got a lot of second, third tier parts. They're not unloading the first tier part unless they can get a house load. So that's what's up with that. And I get it. Porzingis is a third option. He fit in really good, but he don't have the depth, and you can't get much more out of him. That's why they traded his butt to Spain. That's why he went to Atlanta because Atlanta is considered Spain. Drew Holiday get traded to Sing Sing to Beijing because Portland is basically Beijing. If we don't have these computers and this Wi-Fi and these apps, you forget all about Drew Holiday. If this was in the 80s or the 90s, getting sent to Portland in a post Clyde Drexler world, you'd forget they were on the map. They're hating on him because he's in the same sentence with Jokic. They're hating on him. He's in the same sentence with Giannis because he really doesn't have the talent on his team to match what Jokic got. That's making Jokic look suspect. So Jamal Murray, Gordon, who did come to play, I give Gordon, but Michael Porter Jr., two or three you cats need to be working out because SGA out hustled you, beat you, sent your butt packing, and now he's a made man, and he's in the same conversation with those two. I don't know why SGA gets so much hate. I don't get it. He's a perimeter player. You would think the way they hate bigs. Oh yeah. If you ask me, Jokic flopped because he was getting wore out. He was actually worn out by Zubats in that Clipper series, if you must know. Hey, that's all it takes. We if you can be put in the sentence with those guys who are true of the four greatest ever, three of the greatest ever, three of the greatest ever, you know what you about. Now, those are three top tier guys too. You got a league that's been around almost 80 years, and you're only four of you are in that same conversation on that time. That speaks volumes. And Shaq did that 25 years ago. So let that marinate. And you've had guys like LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Kawhi Leonard who could put up numbers and stuff. So let that sink in what this man just got through accomplishing. Let that sink in. Especially in the era of Steph and LeBron, who are ball dominant, or Durant. Come on now. Jason Tatum too while you jiving because you think Tatum would have something like that. So just saying. Yeah, that's impressive though. And he didn't do that. So I did a video a couple years ago where I was talking about Shea was on the rise, and he definitely exceeded. Yeah, when you accomplish what he's accomplished, he's in the history books. He never has to win again, but he's Hall of Fame first ballot, or he's going to keep putting points up. But if he just decided to stat pad, he was a runner for MVP last year. he's already made a case for his. He's now it's just a matter where his legacy will go to. It's very impressive. Got a high IQ, and it doesn't get the kind of love it should. People crying about, yeah, I know. At the time, that looked like at the time because plus Paul George carries weight. I know this already. I know. You ain't gotta look. I know about all their histories. Again, Vladdy was a decent player. High school kid at the time. No one could see nothing. You can't forecast that. Can't forecast that. And Paul George was a borderline guy who almost was great for a moment. So that's not a knock against that trade. It's just that the Clippers are always being the Clippers are always one step off. But I understand it. Why? I get it. Why you make that kind of move? Because you're trading off potential for a guy who could be. You don't you know. So Vladi had a good career. He's in combos for his generation. He's already in a combination for his generation. He got the same situation as Giannis and Jokic right now because he did it all in 1 year. If he wins another chip, he surpasses them. But he's in the conversation with them now. They're not running ahead of him. And to be honest with you, he got a better chance of getting back than they do. Because I think Jokic might break down. And if they don't get some help and learn how to play some defense, he gonna be crying it out. And Giannis, that's gonna be interesting. He ain't gonna make it with Damian Lillard. He ain't gonna make it with Doc Rivers. And he sure as heck ain't gonna make it with Kyle Kuzma. So them three are in there. They're in the convo together. They do work out that way. It's always something that you don't see, and then there's that sleeper. That's how it works. That's why Tyrese Halliburton says always a sleeper in there. You don't see him, you don't, you kind of like, eh. And then that's the cat that ends up being in the conversation. That's how it works. I think the I think the KD for Odin was worse, and I'm gonna tell you why. Sam Boyd was actually that good. He just was injury prone, but he was that good. Odin just looked like an old man when he was in college. And he looked old. He could play defense, but he just looked old and he didn't have no offensive game. So he was like a triple junior whopper, broke the White Howard, who like an old man. And that was more worse than that because, the thing is that KD, you got a lot of wearing and movement around with him. No, they're three of the best ever. They're in that 25 to 45 pile right now. They're three of the best ever. And a one hit wonder means you won something. It's not like in the music business. But I'm going to tell you something. If you got the right hit, you can have debates. If you got it right, people remember your song where they remember you. You're not going to soon forget Giannis Jokic and SGA, though. They have accomplished quite a bit. Because that was all it took. Brandon Roy was going to be something until he got hurt. Good call on that. And to be honest, I mean, if SGA wins another regular season MVP, then they all, But he's in the boat already for what he accomplished just this year. He's had a better season in 1 year than they had. When you think about it, to accomplish all that he accomplished, a scoring title, regular season MVP, what's the conference, and all that, and then to win the chip, no one's gonna soon forget him. No matter what Gilbert Arenas tries to tell you. Yeah, but he never. Again, his body broke down. And Dwight didn't. Dwight was more on defense than he was on offense. Bonner was more on offense. None of them was impressive though. I wasn't impressed by none of it. I tell you, Andre Drummond could have been as good as any of those cats because he could score a little bit, he could rebound a bit. But again, Dwight had incredible defense and he had ability, but he never learned an all around game. Bynum didn't have the mental capacity to keep it going. You know, he felt like stuff and then he rolled off and that was it. Odom was strictly defense on a big body. So you know, I remember Odom when he was with Ohio State. But these guys just don't let. And I thought Boogie Cousins had a chance at something, but you know, Dwight could play good defense though, and I will say that he learned how to shoot a three, but nobody will touch him in the NBA now. Okay, nah, because I put Rondo in before I put him in, and I like Drew a lot too. But mm, you know, if you win like he did, he needed, and things then kind of fell apart. It's kind of like Boston fell apart, like Milwaukee did. Can't put my finger on it. He got hurt, and it just kind of sagged a spot. Can't quite do it. I wouldn't put him in, but I'm sure they eventually they might find a way to. But if he plays in Portland and they win about 40 games, he should be a hall. He should be a first ballot. If they have 5,500 team, he should be a first ballot. But I don't see it though. I'm going with Shea because they might still romanticize Durant's MVP or what he did or Russell Westbrook body of work. That's why. No, because if he don't come back and play and at least get to a capable level, he's gonna kind of get almost. He's not gonna get ostracized, but let's just say people won't be quite so quick. I don't think so. I know they didn't get it done, but they still carried weight though. They were, I know, but they did. You know, they still carried weight. She has to like for some people another years of body of work. Then they'll probably give it up to him, or if he wins another ring or another league MVP. But you gotta remember something: Durant and Russ are like big time. Oh yeah. Who are you talking about with the MVP that gets him off? Embiid ain't gonna be first ballot though. Yeah, he get in, but ain't gonna be first ballot. Because if he keep on fooling around, he'll get treated like Derrick Rose. I ain't gonna be quick to put him in. I ain't gonna be quick to put him in. If he played like he's supposed to, then yes. But we never got that guy. And the process then kind of ran overtime. He was talking about the process when Rihanna first came out, and she's a mother of two kids now. And I don't know what process he gonna keep talking about unless he talking about for his hair. Yeah, but he didn't get the job done. Second round casualty. That's not nice. If that's all you ask for, then I guess that suffice for you. He played in Philly. He's he should have been considered the most skilled big they had overall since Wilt. Should be considered one of the five greatest sixers ever. He ain't. Stat pad and don't get the job done, and no one's gonna remember that. A change of diet could do him some good. He needs discipline, and he needs to be like reminded that the game is a gift, not something that you take advantage of. He done made a mockery of where he's at. He got a lot of work to do. Zion gotta go somewhere where they discipline, but good luck with that. Ain't nobody that's gonna really deal with him unless he has to like make a humble, he has to go somewhere and reinvent himself. He did, because when he was at his moments of motor, he could move. And he's athletic. He just doesn't stay consistent. Powder puff donuts then got had turkey. You know, working with. Barkley was a better player. He was round, but the round man was incredible. Look him up on YouTube. That guy had handles, yo. He could go coast to coast. He could play. He probably played his best ball in Philly, but he got bronzed in Phoenix. But the Philadelphia era version of him, had Andrew Toney been healthy and Doc and Moses not been long in the tooth, could have gotten a run out of him. He was, yeah. There's a reason why people still hold him in high regard to this day. Some people will debate him versus Karl Malone and even Tim Duncan for his power forward. He was just that good. He was something else for his size. Look up that highlight in Phoenix when he hit that game winning shot over David Robinson at the top of the key. No, I didn't do nothing about Joe Jones. I wasn't really compelled. Maybe I might, but it won't be ASAP. I seen him fight, but I wasn't like really that blown. Ted had told me about it. I just didn't really feel compelled. That's all. Yeah, but I've never been the biggest MMA fan either. And besides, they still sell Conor McGregor. So what do you want me to say about Dana White? If I do, it'll be kind of like on a low key tip. It won't be something that I'll just boast about. Because again, I wasn't the biggest MMA fighter fan. I can respect what they got to go through, but I, I see it, but it's not really my thing. I did see some of his fights though. It's a short term life. I mean, you have to really hope things go your way because it's a tough, brutal way. Only a handful of cats make some money. That's not gonna be about much or nothing. Trade bait. They not gonna stay healthy. They're gonna be seventh, eighth seed. Mm, That's not. They could stay healthy, and they still get knocked out in the second round at the most. Trey is a gimmick, yo. Triple Junior Whopper broke Steph Curry, and his played and ran out. He was up there crying to be on the All Star game last year. Gets his coaches fired, and the team isn't that good. And ain't no one try to talk about Trey. Sorry, his act gotten old. Okay, I don't even know. I saw it, but I ain't paid no mind. It don't even make no difference now. Anyway, I think I had forgot who it was. Some cat in Britain, I think. No, why should he? In that order. Because Deron was bad until he started thinking that he was the second coming to John Stockton. He was a better pure scorer than CP3, and he was a more effective leader than Dame will ever be. Dame is a straight out can score, but it don't mean much. And CP3, for all the hype and everything, and he plays the corners, he keeps wearing out his welcome. I mean, they all three of them left a lot to be desired because Deron, with that whole antics against Jerry Sloan, and all that crying to go back home, and he didn't do nothing. He went to Dallas, and then he played in Cleveland, and he fell off bad. They all fell off bad. And what you want me to do about that? What am I supposed to be impressed? They all fall off. I just got through making my case. They all fell off. I'm not impressed. Yeah, he can score a bunch of points, but he ain't. He don't win nothing. Hmm. Yeah. What you want me to do about that? I'm not impressed. He needs the money. But he gonna fight till he like 68. Come on now. Yeah, he did apologize, but it messed up a guy who had a chance to have a really good career because he could shoot that thing, and he was a good, good young player. Him and Boozer, went off. All three of them cats, I don't even talk about them. So they almost all in the same boat, as far as I'm concerned. That's what happened. I have to think about that one. I gotta think about that one. He's in that argument. I have to. That's why I'm pausing. I like how you be slick when you throw your remarks because I have to think about that one. Yeah, he's over Rick Alderman. You know, I thought Alderman was a really good coach. Then Tony, well, it wasn't about Jordan why they lost though. So let me break that series down for you since you want to. You know, Michael was the difference maker. It wasn't the reason. They were well coached off the bench. The reason why the problem with them is when they couldn't get Ronnie Cycli, they missed on getting a center. So that's what hurt them. They had a low post presence. I think that's a different series. They pretty much were evenly matched. Those games went to the wire. It's just that he hit a couple big shots, a couple plays. Believe me, one or two things here or there, Utah could have made it into a series. They were in it, but they couldn't stop him. But they pretty much checked everybody else. But they were in it. There's a lot of things. Ryman and Carmelo cancel each other out. They had a decent little bench, but they the thing about it is they got beat up when Kukos came up big, Harper came up big. It was a situation that the Bulls were actually more fundamentally than they got credit for. But it took that kind of performance to beat Utah. Utah was playing a very nice pace of basketball. Didn't need a lot. They needed a center, you know, out of somebody that was serviceable who could have been more effective than Ostertag and Foster. Then it'd be a different ball game. They got stuck with big old soft, fuzzy, stuffed animals, and then he got ate up. But it wasn't a lot that separated. All right, appreciate you coming through because I'm gonna give it a bounce in just a couple of minutes. Appreciate you coming through. Thanks for coming through, though, Jay. Well, appreciate that. Yeah, it was a lot more going on. So anyway, I'll be on for another minute. But Utah, mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be coming probably. If you want me to, I'll do it. I'll probably do it middle of July. So give me a couple weeks. If you want to request me to do an NFL preview, give me a one. And I'll mark it down. So a one is for yes, a two is for no. That's how I remember it. And I'll even give you a shout out. So give me a one if you want me to. If you don't, give me a two. And I'll give you a shout out. They're not really hard to do because I don't see a lot. I see certain things already coming into view. And there will be teams that I'll be keeping an eye on. Okay. Then I will probably do that in a couple weeks. That's the plan. All I'm gonna really do on that is just talk about teams that I'm looking at. There is interesting scenarios going on that I can tell you for certain teams. So I'll address that. And certain teams I don't have no hope for. So, but it's a lot riding on. A lot of legacies, potential legacies, are at stake. Well, their whole thing is about getting to the Super Bowl and winning. That's about it right now. Because Kyle Shanahan is, I don't know how many times they're going to keep giving him carte blanche. He didn't choke two Super Bowls. He choked the NFC West Championship game. I don't know how much more you want. Now, he's considered a better coach than Sean McVay, but Sean McVay done already done what he done. He's won the Super Bowl. And he got a better situation with the Rams, even though Shanahan's got more talent. I'm just going to keep it 100. So we shall see. Yeah, they're missing no Debo. It's gonna be real interesting how they come out this year, what their defense is like, what Purdy does. They gotta play better than they. I know injuries caught the kick they butt last year, but they gotta make a statement. You had too many chances. So yeah, he'd be hype. But that's part of your problems. But the other problem is that Kyle Shanahan got to do a better job at finishing games. That's the really in a nutshell. You got to win a chip, and I don't know how long they're gonna tolerate him. Because you blew two Super Bowls and NFC Championship game. I'll put it to you like this: if you win one of those games, George Kittle is considered a top five tight end ever, probably, because his stats are incredible. But because of the choke jobs, and Kittle's bad too. All right, I think I'm about ready to head on that. I've been on here for like an hour and a half, and I think I'm going to cut it today. The rebroadcast of this will be coming through, so people who don't watch or what have you comes back on in the next couple of weeks until I put this on the podcast for those who didn't watch. But appreciate everybody that came through today. Thank y'all very much. And I will be back again. And again, I got my videos also. Feel free to check them out, make comments. If you got suggestions, feel free. If you want to donate, feel free. Got the PayPal. Whatever you want to do, feel free. It'll be over as soon as the verdict comes in. So it should be any moment. All right, I'm out. Appreciate everybody, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace.